So what is the purpose of strength and what is the purpose of weakness, and how can we tap into our full potential and start to utilize our potentiality that is infinite, that we know in the head but it's hard to operate with in reality? So something that we want to understand first is that we have this limiting belief. And where does it come from? It comes from the preconditioning. So we've been conditioned with this idea that strength is something that's more valued than weakness. And so what happens is it's starting to create this idea of limitation in our mind, because strength is something that I can utilize and weakness is something that I cannot utilize. Therefore, it is more associated with the idea of lack, that I don't have this where others have it, right? And it's creating incapabilities in me. I'm not sufficient enough, or I'm not capable or good enough. And the strength is something good, because when I have this, I can utilize this to create more, produce more, build more, right? Provide more. But this idea had us stay out of balance in a lot of the ways and creating a lot of limitation within ourselves just because of this belief. So just like everything has a purpose, and everything can be a tool once we recognize why and what they exist for. To understand that first, we have to understand the energies first. What I mean by that is, regardless of your gender, whether you're a male, you're a female, what kind of sexual orientation you prefer right now, it doesn't matter. Everyone, if you're a human being, we hold these energies, and we are all here to learn to balance these two energies to become a master creator. What they are is the feminine energy and the masculine energy. What they also is an association with is this idea of positive and negative. Just like light and darkness, everything serves a purpose. The sun and the moon, everything. So when we look at our biology, we have 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 hands, 2 ears. A lot of the 2 organs, and then 2 feet. What they represent is the dualities. So what that means is there's a purpose to duality. There's a purpose to the idea of judgment, having what is positive, what is negative. And the reason why they exist is to integrate these 2 opposing aspects, the perspective, and to come to the union of these 2. That is the whole purpose. So that's why we have the third eye, and once your third eye is open, you start to see everything beyond the illusion of positive and negative, beyond the illusion of the matrix, the conditionings. One eye represents the positive, the other eye negative, the shadow and the light, feminine and the masculine. So masculine energy is associated with our ability to provide, ability to create, ability to build something, ability to analyze, the logical mind, the ability to protect and to provide. So this is more of, in representation of the idea of the father, right? The provider, the protector. And the feminine energy is more of the mother energy, receptivity, the vulnerability, the ability to intuit and to trust and to flow. So in order to become a master creator, we need to both understand these energies within ourselves and balance out these 2. And when we are in balance, what that means is we are in union with ourselves, which means, in another way, it's yoga. That's what we do. We are trying to be in union with ourselves and energies. So when we are in alignment, we receive, we download what we are supposed to be, what we are supposed to do in this lifetime through the heart portal. And once we have that, we start to utilize the masculine energy, the logical mind, and start creating based on these intentions and intuitions and ideas, the creativity that comes. But right now, a lot of the times, because of the limiting beliefs that we've been heavily programmed with, we are valuing more of the masculine energy out of balance, because that's all that's been emphasized for a lot of the kids, the children, adults. So what that's creating is a lot of stress and struggle naturally, because stress simply means you're at dis-ease, not at peace, not in balance. We are not restful, we are restless, because we have this compulsion, the idea, the self-pressure to constantly create, to produce more, to do more. So this idea of human doing has become so dominant. A lot of people suffer right now. So something that we need to understand first is that masculine energy is better, feminine energy is better. We are not here to judge, but we are here to simply observe and understand the purpose, because they are tools that we can utilize. And we all have strengths and weaknesses, the masculine and the feminine energy. So once we embrace these things, we can start to be more resourceful by developing certain skills that are relevant to these areas that are very unique to you. So the weakness represents feminine energy, and the strength represents more associated with the idea of masculine energy, because when we have a lot of the strength, we are given these tools to build something, to create something, to provide something, to build something. And with the weakness, what we can do is, it's not something that I don't have or I have less of. So what the purpose of the weakness here is that we are here to ask for help, basically. Ask for help to other people who have the strength that I don't have. Why do we do that? Because we are all here to cooperate, meaning operate together as a humanity. And because we are all here to create for the highest good, for everyone's benefit. So once we embrace this aspect, then we learn to trust, we learn to let go, we learn to surrender, we learn to stay vulnerable, right? We learn to listen to our heart, to our intuition, and trust. And so all of these areas are associated with that, the weakness. And when someone is overly independent, that they can do everything on their own, or they're trying to do everything on their own, what's going to happen? The person is going to be highly, highly stressed out. And so what that means is comes from a trauma-based response, where you feel like you needed to do everything on your own, because when you asked for help, or the help wasn't available as you were growing up, or as you were in a certain environment, you learned that people were not cooperating, people were not helpful or supportive. It was more of a competitive environment where there's not enough for everyone. That's the idea, the limiting belief. So we start to compete rather than cooperate. Rather than living in comparing and competing, we're going to be more in cooperation with each other to build something together. And the idea of, competition is going to be more of developing one's excellence. So it's going to be related to more of one's excellence, or, mastering one's skills, and just out of joy as a group together. So it's not about someone's being a winner and someone's being a loser, which means that someone's better and someone's worse. So this idea of duality, or the hierarchical idea of limitation, will be slowly disappearing in the future. So something that we need to understand first is that there's a purpose to everything, and weakness is not something that you don't have, or you are lack in, or you're insufficient with, but rather it's helping you to stay in tune with your heart, to trust and to surrender, and when to receive and when to give. So it's also associated with, drawing healthy boundaries, discernment, communication. So everything is related actually. I can extend to other topics here and there, but coming down to it, basically, in order for you to start tapping into your potentiality and start believing that you have the potential, it is really crucial to understand the purpose of something that is in dual perspective, such as positive, negative, strength, and weakness from a very neutral standpoint, because everything serves a purpose, everything can be a tool, and everything exists for a reason for a higher purpose to be served. Once you embrace this idea, you can start to look at yourself in a much different light and get out of that limiting beliefs. And once you get out of their limiting beliefs, now you're going to work with your fear and doubts and other stuff, and then you start to embrace your potentiality, and you start to get curious about what you can do with all the resources that you have, and you're going to start to educate yourself and learn new skills and make yourself resourceful. And then you're going to create based on your intuition, intuitive guidance that is related to your soul purpose, your soul mission that is unique to you. So there's no need to compare yourself, compare how someone is more talented, more creative, and there will be no place for you because you don't have the creativity, you don't have the skill set. There's no need to worry or fear, but just focus on your journey, because the truth is there is enough for everyone. Idea that there's not enough for everyone was a limiting belief.